Tuesday. How are you doing? And I hope uko salama kabisa, you and your loved ones. My name is Sarah Otieno, and thank you so much for making time to join us this beautiful evening. We thank the Lord for this far. We are live on This Is The Day, live on Family TV, and also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. The WhatsApp number to contact us from is 0786 316 316, and also through the SMS line 20316, and on Facebook and Twitter, that is at Family Radio 316. And let us get to learn together. And today the discussion is all about learning. So there is this urge that we all have that at some point you will have a family. And if you're not having a family right now, you are aspiring to be a dad or a mom, and you will want to put a roof over the head of your family members. And that is where housing comes in. But there has been a dilemma amongst many, very many of Kenyans, and me being one of them, whether to buy a house, to build one, or to mortgage. But please consider that in the recent years, mortgaging has put a lot of Kenyans in trouble. And I'm saying that because auctioning is real. Very many people have lost their houses because they have failed to pay the mortgage that they are supposed to be paying. Well, today in studio, we are having the director of Wezesha Real Estate, and that is Mr. John Mwanu, who will help us understand what is the best way to go when it comes to making sure that you are acquiring property in the right way possible, and one that will not strain your pocket. But before that, I want us to look at some of the statistics when it comes to acquiring property, and especially housing. Then we'll be coming back to discuss more about this hot discussion. But for now, have a look at this. The Central Bank's most recent survey of mortgage lenders shows that there were 26,178 residential mortgages. Some 60% of Kenya's 11.4 million households live in homes they own, and 35.4% rent their homes. Some 86.6% of owner-occupier houses in the country have been constructed by the owners, while only 5% of the owner-occupier dwellings were purchased. About 2.8% were inherited, and 2.3% were received as gifts. The average prices of 1 to 3 bedroom residential properties is currently 14.4 million shillings, while the average prices of a 4 to 6 bedroom residential property is 39.1 million Kenya shillings. In Kenya, most property purchases are for sale. Real estate in Kenya has seen a number of changes in property prices, supply and demand, and the now common affordable housing project, which has been the talk of the town. Kiambu County showed the most growth in supply in 2019. Demand for property in the area went up, especially in places with coffee plantation. It comprises of more shopping malls and gated community. This growth is from the growing middle class community, which prefer to live in satellite towns which are more affordable. Well, it brings us to the question: are we supposed to build our own houses? Are we supposed to buy or mortgage? What is the best option to go about when it comes to the fact that you want to acquire property, and in this case, a house? Mr. John Mwanu, the director of Wezesha Real Estate, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Asante.
Yeah, you look very smart, you know?
Thank you. Asante.
Oh, well, where do we go wrong, you know? Is it buying, building, or mortgage? I'll ask your opinion first. Which one would you prefer?
All options are good. It depends on where you are, what you need. There are several factors that one needs to consider. If building for you is easier, then you go for that option. If maybe you're employed, you need a mortgage, your salary is good, then a mortgage is good for you. Then there are people who don't have time to build their own houses. They're in business, so the only option they have is to buy.
Wow.
So all these things, they have pros and cons that work for each and every one of us, depending on your interest and what you need to achieve.
All right.
Yes.
But sometimes people go wrong with either of those options.
Yes.
So please help us understand, what are these mistakes that we do when actually identifying a way of getting a house? What are the mistakes?
Let me say that people make mistakes, and some of the mistakes they make because of lack of information, lack of mentorship, and maybe exposure and also experience. One of the things that one of the mistakes that people make before, especially for the first-time buyers, it is that they don't invest in research. So you buy a property because of emotions.
Yeah.
You want to feel that you have a property somewhere, but you also don't look at, you've not done the research concerning that particular area. This means that there are things we look at, such as the capital gains. There are areas that they don't grow with the speed. There are strategic positions and locations that you need to look at if you need to get returns on investment, especially when it comes to buying a house. So one of the mistakes people do, they don't invest in research. And this makes them lose money. They may not lose money now, but in future, once they want to do a resale of the property they bought, you find is a challenge, because the factors that they considered is not what they were not based on future. They were based on emotions and where they were at that particular time.
Wow.
Yes.
I like that. And can I say it's also a mistake for someone to start having the dreams of owning a house?
Yes.
Doesn't matter how, but you have not really put a lot of keenness to the finances.
Yes. That is also another mistake that people buy. That people do. You don't have enough resources or finances, then you want to buy a property in high end. You find that even if it is a mortgage that you have taken, you are not able to finance the mortgage, and this means the property was a wrong choice for you. So you have to look at your income. If you're not employed, then you have to look at what your business can be able to give you. Even if you do a you're in business, the mortgage that you take, your business should be able to make sure that that mortgage is paid without hassle. And also something else that people they don't consider, it is that mortgage that you take should not affect the way you live. You should pay mortgage comfortably. It should not hurt your family. It should not hurt your business. You should be able to you should be able. You should not string to pay for mortgage. You only go for that option when you are ready. So finances are is also another factor that people should consider before they buy, they build, or they go for mortgage.
Right.
Sure.
But then all these aspects and all these options have their pros and cons.
Yes.
So I want us to break it down, Kidogo, for someone who's maybe planning to build a house and then maybe to buy and to mortgage.
Yes.
I want us to break it down in this order.
Okay.
Tuanze na buying.
Yes.
So let us look at the advantages and disadvantages. Then tuende kwa building. Then tuende kwa mortgage.
Yes.
Tuanze na buying. So I want to buy, I'll paint a picture. I'm thinking of I want to buy a house in the outcasts of Nairobi.
Yes.
So what are the advantages and the disadvantages, and maybe things to consider?
Yes. Thank you for that question. The pros and cons of buying a house. Let me start with the advantages of buying a home. You buy a home because of where the reasons, especially the employed people. You are not employed forever. So it is a deliberate decision you have to make before to buy a home, even to settle your family. Therefore, once you decide to buy a home, you need to look at the location. Is the location secure?
Wow.
Because you have to put your family in an area whereby you feel even if you go anywhere, you know your family is very secure. Another thing you need to look at before you buy another thing you need to look at before you buy a house, it is that your place of work. Can you be able to commute on daily basis? Because if you buy a house today, you are moving from renting a house. You are moving away from expenses, the monthly expenses. Is it a place you can be able to commute on daily basis? So one of the advantage of buying a house, it is that the company that you're buying a house from has done a research for you, has done good documentation, has done a lot of work, the manual work that maybe you are not in a position to do. They have done all that for you.
Yeah.
So if you're a busy person and maybe the location and the company that sells the house has done the house in a location that you needed, then buying a home is more advantageous for you. Then another thing for those people who buy homes, there is another advantage is the research has been done for you. The company is more experienced, and even if the house is not in good condition, you can be in a position to tell them, this is not what I was looking for. So before I get in, kindly make these changes. So those are some of the advantages. Another, let me go to the disadvantages of buying a home. Sometimes the location of where the house is not what you are looking for.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a house that you found, it has been built by a company. This is where they wanted to do the house, but this was not your initial idea. So you might go into a new area that you don't know about, you become a new person, even getting along with the people might take time. So that is also another disadvantage. Another disadvantage is you are not able to customize
that house.
Yeah, that house.
Yeah,
you
and
buy
like
that house the way it is,
Yes.
So you don't have a lot of decisions that you are going to make. So even if the sitting room was somewhere very close to the toilets, you cannot make that change.
Yeah?
You are going to buy that house the way it is. So those are you are not involved in the decision making right from the word go. You see that? So that is another disadvantage. Another disadvantage is maybe for those people who don't have money, maybe a house is going for 1.5, 2.5, 3 million, 9 million. You don't have, for those people who don't have that cash together, they might find it very hard to buy that house. So there is something we call in the affordable housing, the off-plan payment model, whereby people you pay a deposit, a certain deposit of to the company that is building the house, then you build it together. So many people, they come together, they put the resources together, and then they build it together. It takes time, but it is the best for those people who don't have that cash together
to pay once.
Okay. So you need to do your own research and look for what you need. Plan yourself well. Say like the year 2020, I want to live in Juja, I want to live in Thika. So what you can do, it is look for a company that can do that work for you. You pay slowly, and in 2 years or 1 year's time, you will be able to have a house.
Wow.
Without so much struggle, if you didn't have that money, all of them together.
All right.
It is a vehicle that is workable for all Kenyans, especially those who don't have cash together.
Wow, I like that.
Yes.
But talking of the disadvantages,
yes,
I remember there is a story that actually came up in the news early last year.
Yes.
It was about this estate along Mombasa Road, you know,
yes.
and every time it rained, it was flooding.
Yes.
And these were bought houses, you know. People buy them for their families.
Sure.
So I'm thinking these are some of the disadvantages that might actually come up. You don't know the terrain of the area.
Yes, because you've not been there for long. You don't know what is happening. You don't know the weather.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you buy such a house, you feel disappointed.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
Feel this is something that you hold so dearly, close to your heart and family. Then at the end of it, you find the water has the house has become an ocean or a river. You start swimming to work. So it is very disappointing to families, and therefore you need to do research and also involve the other people, especially experts, to advise you on the best location, the best way forward to buy a home.
And even it comes in when you look at the documentation of houses.
Yes. Documentation. This is where you involve advocate to do due diligence, search, to advise you whether the company that is selling the house is a genuine company. They're going to do this research for you. Also, you need to involve people like valuers. You don't have to buy a house that has been overpriced.
Yes.
You need to buy a house at the market price, so that even if you are there for 5 years, the house will have appreciated. You are not going to lose your investment. So those are the things that people those are some of the advantages and disadvantages of buying a home. Let us now look at the
building.
Building.
Yes.
If you have cash with you, and you have time to monitor the progress of construction while building your own home, then you can go for this option if you have time.
Okay, if you have time.
If you have
I
time,
like that. Yeah?
yes.
Yeah.
And if you have money, and if you have knowledge where to buy all these materials, because you don't want to send people and they overprice the materials. So the advantage of building a house is that it is going to require you your time 100%. If it's not going to require you your time 100%, you need somebody to be there always, and you're going to pay them.
Yes.
Sometimes there is a lot of rose in materials, overpriced materials, because
Low
these people are not,
quality,
low quality, because they want to make money.
Yeah.
Then there is a headache of managing people. If you're not good in managing people, you're going to have a lot of headache in building your own house. And sometimes, because you don't have an expert to advise you, sometimes they might build using low cost, the materials of low value.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you are going to lose so much. I don't advocate so much in building, but if you go the direction of building, you need to have somebody to monitor the progress, an expert to monitor the progress of that house, or you can even give a contractor.
Yeah, you know. You know, sometimes I might say that I want to manage that and make sure that I manage the whole thing, but I'm not an expert.
That is not your area of operation.
Yes.
These people, they know the areas to take you around and make money from you. So those are some of the disadvantages of building a house for you. You may not, because that is not your, unless you are a fundi.
Yeah.
That is not the area you can go, unless you get a contractor. Then you do piecemeal work. They charge you based on what they have done. Then although it's going to be a little bit more expensive, because this house, you're building one house. The reason as to why the cost of house will go down is because of the economies of scale.
Yeah.
When you do so many houses, like 100 houses, like us, we are in construction. We build, once we sell you a house, a land, we also come in to build a house for you. If we do 10 houses, 100 houses, it means the cost of building and buying the materials will go down. The labor cost will go down. We have capacity to bargain, and therefore it means we are going to give you a house at a low cost, at a subsidized value. So because you're building a single unit, it might be more expensive for you.
Okay.
That is what that is why building that is one of the disadvantages of building a house for yourself. But if you have money, you know there is what the heart needs.
Yeah.
If you have money, you can do all those
whatever you want, you know,
and you will not
a home
feel
of your choice.
a home of your choice.
Yeah.
Then some of the advantages is that you can be able to control the flow of the speed in which you want the house to be done. Again, if you don't have enough money, you can be able to do that house depending on the flow of the income.
All right.
So you can be able to decide, this is the time I want to build. The cash has gone down. I have to wait. Then you can do that depending on availability of time.
All right. And
Yes.
I like that point. And then it brings me to the question. You know, I've seen people building for as long as 5 years.
Yes.
Others, unaona paka nyasi imemea kwa
Imemea,
nyumba,
sure.
and then they'll come back to continue again.
Yes.
So is it very advisable to let the house stay for that long being unfinished? Ama it has its own disadvantages.
Let me say that there is no, what I can say concerning that issue is that everybody who starts to build his own house, they don't start building that house with a mind that is going to stall.
Yeah.
So it's maybe the disadvantage, the lack of enough resources,
Finances.
yes, unforeseen financial obligations that came. So it makes the house to not to move on. But because the house is there for you, there is no much disadvantage. You are not going to lose anything,
Yeah.
and nothing is going to happen to maybe theft of the materials if a good security is not put in place.
I like that.
Yes.
It happens in most parts,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
Umemwaga mchanga lori
Yes.
mzima and then you find it's half.
Yeah,
Suddenly
sure.
imeswipiwa na
Yeah.
We have someone who's texting in. You're enjoying the show from Sanctuary Naivasha. Lots of information. Another disadvantage of buying a house is costly compared to building your own house.
Yes, sure. Because the developer would want to make a profit margin, and make profit from you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. All right. We have another person. You did not give me your name, but you're saying, I am enjoying the show. Thank you so much. And say hi to the speaker. Really informative there. We have Mutunga Kiremi tuned in. Thank you so much for tuning in and making time for us today. You can continue texting us.
Yes.
The WhatsApp number 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316. And surely let's just learn together. And now we're from building.
Yes.
Let's go to mortgage. And
Yes.
it's very unfortunate that auctioneers are actually selling more than you guys, you know, because they're actually auctioning and reselling houses because people have failed to pay mortgage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me say is a very unfortunate situation because the economy has been bad.
Yeah.
Especially for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's
And the unforeseen, especially when the economy goes bad, there is no cash flow, and especially when there was a change in currency. Somehow the finances, the money refused to, the money could not flow.
Yeah.
This made the economy to slow down, and the business people, they were affected. The companies started retrenching people, downsizing. So if you were employed and you've been told now your services are no longer needed, it means automatically means you will not be able to service your mortgage.
Yeah.
What happens is if a bank or a financial institution that had made you acquire the house, they are going to come for the house, and this is where you see the financial institutions, they had acquired a lot of houses from the people who they had given the mortgage to.
Yeah.
So, but the economy made all these things to happen. But this year, things are going to be more better compared to the years that, to the 2 years that has happened.
And why is that?
The economy is responding.
Oh, really?
There is a the economy is responding because in our field we can be able to say when the economy is good and when the economy is bad.
According to you, the economy is responding when nyanya tatu ni 50 bob.
That is in agricultural sector.
Yeah, but in the real estate?
In the real estate, things are coming up so well. This is something that I would like to encourage people. Do not give up on your business. Do not give up hope, because better days are ahead. The drivers of economy, especially right now, like in Kenya, we want to venture into manufacturing, and also the vision of affordable housing is being driven by the president himself. It means all the resources are going to be taken to one, maybe all the four direction or one direction, depending on the vision of the head of the nation.
All right.
So mortgage means you go to it's a loan you get from the bank actually, and the bank buys your house, then you can pay the loan at an interest depending on how you are going to agree with the bank. Therefore, one of the disadvantages of buying a house with a mortgage is also you need to be well informed, because there are two types of mortgage. There is a flat rate mortgage. This is a mortgage whereby the interest does not change. If you agree with the bank, it's going to buy you a house at the rate of 12% or 13% or 7%, is going to remain the same until you complete the payment. Then there is a adjustable mortgage whereby it changes depending on the performance of the economy. If the economy is bad and the banks, they want to increase the interest, you don't have control. You don't have control of the same. Now, and something else that happens, another disadvantage of adjustable mortgage, especially when the economy changes. The banks, the financial institutions, they don't want to know what is happening.
Yeah.
You're going to bear the burden.
Yes.
And this is where so many people lose money. So you need to do a research and also be advised well which direction you should go when it comes to mortgage.
All right.
If you are if you are another, let us now look at the another disadvantage. If you lose your employment, your business goes down, then it means you are not able to finance the house. And so long as you are not done with the payment of the mortgage, the house remains the property of the bank.
Okay.
Is not you, as long as you are not able to pay, it remains the property of the bank. So they are going to come for the house.
All right.
Another advantage, let us now look at the advantage, good side of the mortgage. If you're employed and maybe you earn 50,000 or even 100,000 or even 40,000, you go sit down with the bank. You tell them that from my salary, you can be taking 20,000 towards the repayment of the house for 15 years, for 12 years, until I am done with the payment.
Yeah.
That way is a good way of acquiring the house, because even if you had not bought that house, the rent that you pay of 20,000 would have been going to another person, and the house will not be yours.
Yeah.
So that is the advantage of the mortgage. Then,
so you can substitute the rent, and now paying for the mortgage.
Because once the contract, the mortgage contract or the agreement has been signed, and the money has been disposed to the developer by the bank, you can acquire the access to the house. But now, if you don't have money or the resources together, then this is the way you should go. Your statement should be good. There is an appraisal that needs to be done by the banks or financial institutions for you, if they know that you can be able to pay. Because if you are going to pay the rent, the money, the mortgage for 20 years or 15 years, the house value by that time will be more higher. So the bank, they don't lose. So you have to, they look at your income, your sources of income, whether it is a stable source of income. Then if you are not employed, then the banks, they term you as a higher risk person. So even the interest might go higher.
Yes.
So if you're employed and you have a business with a constant flow of income, the banks, they are going to look for you.
All right.
Because they can be able to see the behavior of the way you get money.
All right.
Yes.
And am I right to say that maybe the high interest rates in our country are making a lot of people not opt for mortgage? Because if you look at other countries, maybe in the European side of the continent, mortgage is working for them.
Yes, it works. Actually, in those nations, everybody, as long as you are employed 17 years and above, you get a house. Then the government is going to be getting money from your salary. It happens in other nations. It is working. But you see, in Africa, the economy, we don't have a stable economy. We are prone to abuse by other nations and other people. Even ourselves, we abuse one another.
That's
if
true.
If a bank in Kenya can be able to charge you, and especially last year we saw the 2 years ago, we saw the president putting the interest cap rate to 13%. Last year, by the end of last year, then it was removed. The banks, they were given freedom to charge you even if it is 20%, even to 30%. It's very unfortunate, and I wish the situation remained the way it was, the 13% constant. But you see, the financial institutions, they were able to come together and they formed, I don't want to say, let me term it as a union. They were able to speak with one voice.
Let's say Akamukunji.
Yes, I don't want to use the word cartel. Akamukunji. Then they were able to push their ideas. They never released money to the economy. The business person down there, the financing of the business was not there. So what happened? The state was forced to revoke what they had said, so that the financial institutions, they can give money to the people and
Wow.
to move on.
Kamkunji. We'll use the word Kamkunji.
Yes,
And we
yes.
have John who is saying, I'm enjoying the program. Very informative. Say hi to, that is Paul. Say hi to John. And Paul wants his baba.
Yes, Paul, how are you?
Paul, pokea salamu sana.
Yes.
So, we went to the streets and asked you whether you would buy, build, or mortgage a house. And this is what you had to say. Very interesting responses here. Better take a listen.
Ukiniambia kama mtu akona pesa atanunua shamba ajenge yake, si ndivyo? Yule ambaye hana pesa ya kununua shamba na ajenge, ndio unaona analipanga kidogo.
Kama uwezo wangu inaweza kuwa kidogo, siwezi kununua nyumba ya pesa mingi kwa pamoja. Sasa chukua hiyo pesa kidogo nilipe mpaka nimalize.
Mortgage ndio the best way.
No, it depends with one's ability. Yes, maybe you can pay one off or over a longer period.
There's no money you'll buy at once. Ramsam. There's no money. Economy ni mbaya, my friend.
My name is Sarah Otieno and we are live on This Is The Day. I still have in studio the director of Wezesha Real Estate, John Mwanu. And Mr. Mwanu,
Yes.
from the vox pop that we have just seen, a lot of people actually prefer to build houses.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And I like a comment that has been sent by one Lynette, who says, mortgages at time normally seem as something prestigious to have. It's also a shortcut. I have to accept building might be a wiser choice. More peace, to say the least.
Sure.
So to her, it's
Yes.
peaceful.
Peace of mind.
Yeah.
You build with your own pace and according to the flow of income and the resources that you have. One thing we said about building, you need to get an expert to oversee some of these things on your behalf. And if you do that, then you are good to go.
Wow.
Yes.
All right. Ketwa Nicholas. Oh, you are going far by the grace of God. Oh, thank you so much for that really encouraging message. Thank you so much again for watching. We also have Sarah Naivasha. Thank you for that topic. I'm really learning a lot, especially now that I am thinking of getting my own home. I hope you're learning and you will make the best choice for that matter. I also have here someone by the name Crispin who's asking this.
Okay.
Hello, there is a trend whereby real estate companies construct homes and houses abutting riverbanks. For instance, along Kitengela Namanga Highway. Is this environmentally sustainable? His name is Crispin.
Because it is a decision you have to make, you should, what we said is about research. If you see an area that has issues with flooding and all those things, don't go that direction.
Yeah.
It's a decision you have to make at the end of the day. Yes.
All right. And when it comes to environment, you know, again, it goes back to research.
Yes.
You cannot just build a house where
yes.
it's not
Yes.
environmentally friendly, right?
Sure. You need to be more cautious because if you see somebody building or buying a house, they have their family at the heart. So you should look at your family, put them in a place that you, even if you are not there, you know your family is secure. Family first.
Yeah, family
Yes.
first.
Yes.
And especially with our unpredictable with the unpredictable weather
Yes.
this year and last year, then clearly it's something to be on the lookout for.
Yes, sure.
All right, we also have Joram who is saying, thank you for that discussion. I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying from Naivasha. That discussion is a hot one. Today I am just learning. His name is Elvis. Elvis
Okay.
Asante Sana. We also have Maureen Chepkorir. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. That is
Okay.
my friend there.
Maureen.
Yes,
Karibu.
asante sana for tuning in today. But let me ask you a question. Whether to buy, build, or mortgage, what are some of the legal advice that someone needs to be on the lookout for to prevent some cases where fraud has been on your neck? You know, you either build a house na inabomoka.
Sure.
So what are some of the legal, let's start by legal aspects that we are supposed to be on the lookout for?
Thank you. That is whether you buy, build, or you mortgage, there are basic needs and processes that they need to be considered. One of those things is research. Research you need to do, whether it is a bank that is mortgaging you, whether you are building, whether you are buying a home, you need to do a research, one, in the location that you want to build the house. The other thing is the genuinity of the land. If you bought that land from a person, then you want to build a house on that plot of land, what you need to do is that you need to do due diligence. And when we say due diligence, you need to do a search of the property. There are approvals that needs to be done.
The title deed.
Whether you also need to do a research on whether the rates have been paid. You don't build a house on a piece of land that has a debt with the county government. So once you do such, it informs you on few issues. One of the issues that a search copy, once you do a search from the government, is going to inform you whether that piece of land has a caveat, whether it has been used to borrow money elsewhere, whether it has issues. So these are the things that certify also the original owner of that land. So you should not make a mistake on that. Another thing you need to do that is being done by all three sectors, building, buying, and mortgaging, is involvement of an advocate, a lawyer. And in this case, because an advocate is there to make sure that your interests are guarded. You should not, when an advocate comes in, they are there to ensure that your money is not lost. They are going to do the research for you again, the legal part of it. Then they are going to secure, if you agree on the mode of payment, they are going to ensure that if you are selling that property, you're going to be paid the money that is needed. And if you are buying that property, they are going to ensure that the money that you're going to pay is not overpriced. We normally say that an advocate is an eye of the person buying or selling. It's a neutral position. It is the safest place you can go when you are buying a property. If you're buying a property, and if the other person is selling, you can decide also to use one advocate for the purposes of reducing the cost, because you're going to share on the cost. So that is one thing. That is a second part that is involved everywhere. Do not buy a property without an advocate. These are the people that looks at your interest. The other thing that people need to do, you need to involve a valuer. These are the people that determine the actual price, actual value of the property that you are buying. These people, you're going to pay them, but you're going to save so much, because some of these property, they are overpriced, such that if a house has been overpriced maybe with 50% or 100%, now
100%?
Yes, it happens. If they see that it is your first time, you are a first time buyer, they might take advantage of you. Therefore, involving a valuer, they are going to give you the actual position, the actual value of the property that you are buying. Even a bank, they cannot give you a mortgage before they involve a valuer to determine the right cost of the house. Because a house may be overpriced. You are there, the properties are known to increase in value. Then you buy a house 100 times overpriced. It means even 2 years to come, that house will not have appreciated. So the cost of the house will remain the same. So that is why involving a valuer is very key in all these processes. The last part I would want us to the legal part that is involved in either buying, building, or mortgaging. It is when it comes to the transfer of the legal ownership document, especially if you're buying a property, land, or even a house, you need to go to the Land Control Board. These are the people that gives the final consent of transfer of the property from a seller to the buyer. If they approve, then the property is in good condition. Land Control Board, they are everywhere, especially when the title deed ownership, there is change in the ownership document, either title or certificate of ownership. So those are some of the things that people should consider. One, you need to do a research, that is a search, get the owners of the original owners of the property. Number two, involve an advocate. These are the people who looks at your interest in any transaction. Number three, involve a a valuer to determine the right position, the right value of the property you are buying.
Yes.
Number 4, we have said Land Control Board, LCB. These are the people who gives the consent to the transfer of the ownership document. Another thing, let me mention this.
Yeah.
If you're buying a house from a family or a husband and wife, you should not buy either land or a house from a husband himself, because right now the law requires a spousal consent. A wife and children, they have to agree
Yes.
to sell that property. If you buy a house without a spousal consent, and then the wife of the seller comes back and say she was not consulted, you might lose your money, because the law
Just like
requires
that,
the law requires spousal consent.
Okay.
Yes.
And I like that, and you pointed out on the issue of transfer of legal
Yes,
documents.
yes, yes.
And we've had so many people who've actually complained that, oh, I have the title deed,
yes.
but the land is not mine according to the registrar, you know.
Yes, yes,
and that
yes.
is where now the legal people
Yes.
actually come in.
If you follow the 4 processes that I have said, you are not going to lose your money.
Wow.
If you follow them, you are not going to lose your money. Whether you are buying a house or land somewhere, involving these people, the 4 processes, they are very key. And also getting consent from both the husband and the wife.
And the wife. And the
If they are
children,
there.
if need
And
be.
the children, if need be,
Yeah.
if they are over 18 years and above, they should be there, because the property you are buying, you are not just trying things. It is an investment you are making, and you are using lifetime resources
Yeah.
to make to buy the property you are buying.
Okay, we
Yes.
have Newton who's texting in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 3 thank yous.
Asante.
Well, thank you
you.
so much
Yes.
for tuning in and for learning with us today. And there's something I want us to touch on. You know, in 2017, when the government came out to say that it kicked off the affordable housing program,
Yes.
and clearly stated that over 500,000 houses
Yes.
are being constructed for Kenyans.
Yes.
Do you think this is going to affect the rate at which people are going to build houses and mortgage? And especially in your field, do you think it's going to affect how you are doing business?
If let me say, if the government, I know the government is very serious, by the way, is very serious, but I have the issues with the structural the way they are doing things.
Yeah.
They say if you're employed, they are going to charge you, you are going to deposit 1.5%
1.5%, yeah.
of your salary
Yes.
to the affordable housing program. Then the question I'm asking is, how sure I am that the Boma Yangu program, I'm going to benefit from a house from the same program? What if by the time I qualify for a house, I've already gone for retirement? Are they going to refund my money? Are
I
they
don't
going to
think
give
so.
me back my money with the interest?
Yeah.
These are the things that the government has not made clear, and they should be made clear. Then another thing I would want to say, we are not going to lose business as the private sector, because the government is not in the business of construction of the houses.
Yeah.
Because a government it takes care of our resources. Government does not do business. Therefore, what I would want to request the government is to give us an enabling environment, especially the private sector, so that we can help the government achieve the affordable housing vision that it has. In Kenya currently, we have a housing deficit of more than 2 million houses that we need currently.
2 million.
Houses. The government has said by the year 2022, they want to have constructed 500,000 houses, which it has started. But we 2 years down the line, we don't see something that is happening.
Yeah.
We are only seeing that
The
8,000
launching.
houses, the launching, which might take time, like especially the Machakos, the affordable housing in Machakos that were inaugurated just last year, the 8,000 units. You see, government by itself may not be able to achieve this. What we need as the private sector is to get an enabling environment. We get tax relief on construction materials. If, for example, today I am able to do 100 acres in Embu, like the project we have in Embu currently, the gated community. We want to do affordable houses for people in Embu. gated community. So what we say, if I can be allowed to buy materials at a subsidized cost,
Yes.
I can be able to help the government achieve 500 units by December this year.
Wow.
But you see, that has not happened. Also, the affordable housing is a very ambitious project for the government, but they must involve the private sector. Let them provide electricities in interior areas. Let them do good roads, even if not marramed, tarmacked. Let them do compacted marram road.
Yeah.
And we are going to go to those areas and help the villagers. You know, affordable house is not in Nairobi only.
peke yake.
It's not in Kiambu or
Mashinani.
Nakuru.
Yeah.
We have so many people in Mashinani, they are living in deplorable situations, houses. We are the people to make the government achieve this. One thing I must commend the government, it is that the idea by itself to provide affordable housing to people, it is a very great idea, a very noble idea. And us as the private sector, we are going to be committed to help the president and the government achieve the affordable housing
Yeah.
goal by the year 2022. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So I want you maybe to give an advice to this somebody
Yes.
who's been renting a house
Yes.
for all this time as we wind up. I have been renting for 15 years. So what advice can you give to me, maybe at some point in life, so that I can be able to own my own house?
Yeah, you should not rent a house forever. This is what I say. You should not rent a house forever. What you should do, sit down and come up with a plan. See how much you're able to get monthly. There are so many financial institutions that can be able to come in and help you acquire, even if you're going to buy an apartment, a 2-bedroom house apartment, even if it is going for 3 million, you don't have to stay in Nairobi. Nairobi, life can be expensive. Look for an area outskirts of Nairobi, buy just a house, because the being employed for 15 years, it is not a short period of time.
Yeah.
You need to think about your future. In future, I mean, look for a developer. Look for those people who are selling houses. Go sit down with them. Agree with them. I can be paying 20,000 every month, and by the maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the line, you're going to have your own house.
Yeah.
Let your mind be disturbed that you don't have to stay in a rented house forever, and especially if you are nearing retirement. Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of people
Yes.
actually assume it until mwisho.
Yes,
That's
mwisho.
when they want to rush and
It is
own a
very
home.
dangerous for people going for retirement and they are still renting houses. Depression, and also the source of income is not the same as it was. And also, you should not spend your let me call it pension, that money to buy a house when you are retiring.
Yeah.
That is money to sustain you for the years that God is going to give you in this world, so that you don't become a burden. So many parents, they say that they have educated their own children with the mind that children, they've become part of their retirement plan. No, it
plan.
does not happen that
Yeah.
way. You're going to be disappointed, because even these children, they also need to plan their future. So plan yourself well right now. The money you get after the retirement, that is the money to take you to the years that God is going to give you in this.
Yeah.
You can even start a business after retirement,
Yeah, it's
so
not
that you
to
don't
buy a
stay.
house.
No, but not to buy a house.
Yeah.
By the way, depression is real, and to avoid it, you need to make plans right now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for educating us. And from the comments that we are receiving,
Yes.
enyewe, it was a learning process today. Well,
asante.
thank you so much, Mr. John, for coming today. Salimia watu wawezesha sana.
Tawasalimia.
And thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. Moz Mushoki is coming in next with Prayer Circle on Family Radio 316. And you do not want to miss out on that. Continue sending in your prayer requests and even the praise reports. The WhatsApp number to use is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316. And I hope you have learned a lot today, like I have. Think about that, and please make sure you own your own property in the right way possible, in the right channel that is comfortable to you and to your family members, of course. Have yourself a lovely evening, and I will see you tomorrow.